Right, welcome everyone. Thank you for jumping on and just holding this space as we're moving into just 2 more days where we move into the Mastering Consciousness class. For some of you, you have taken the Bio Quantum Foundations 1 class, and even I see some people that have even been with me longer who would have gone through Mastering Consciousness. uh, what did we call that? I can't even remember. Do you remember, Sandy, where it was like 3 month long course where we went through all the foundations? So, do you remember what it was called? It was something like that. Well,
You
anyways,
and
I know. It's so long ago, right? So, when I first started this course, my goal was to create a course that teaches the tools of how to use consciousness as a tool. And when we use consciousness as a tool, we learn to master it. Just like anything else, it's a skill. And that when we're using it in the right way, we learn how to read frequency. We learn how to use our intuition. We learn how to manifest. And that was the name of the course, Manifest. Just remembered. And we learned how to break out of old. Uh-oh, Mr. Ron. Can you guys hear him or is it louder for me? Roger Bear, come here. What he's barking at. Hey, no boy. No, no. Sorry about that. So that, let me see if I can get back to he's just on one right now. Um, okay. I don't know about you guys, but today I'll just give you an example of why this course is so powerful. So today I could feel I have a lot of energy running through my body right now. I can tell I'm in a major upgrade. And if things like that happen and we don't have consciousness, or we aren't able to use consciousness in a way that is actually allowing us to evolve as we ascend and or as we're creating, we can put whatever word there, right? We're in a shift some sort. So if we're trying to manifest something, well, there's a shift that has to happen. If we're trying to release something, well, there's a shift that has to happen. And so we can ask for these things all day long. And then when they start to happen, if we're not actually conscious of how to navigate the actual shift, a lot of times we go back into the looping cycles. And one of the biggest things is knowing, first of all, where we're holding consciousness, what level we're holding it at. So, where are we trying to manifest from or create a shift from? And then two is once we are aware of that, how do we navigate our consciousness and allowing it to stay in a space where it can evolve and we don't loop back into those programs? And I think that everybody kind of has an idea of what that's like because we've had it happen, right? We've tried to create a change. It maybe felt good for a little bit. We maybe even started the process and somehow we ended up right back where we were or somewhere very similar. Well, there's a reason for that. And that's kind of my passion is let's look at those reasons, come up with tools of how we can use consciousness to become the master of what it is that we're trying to change. So some of the things that we learn to master in this course is intuition. It's how to evolve emotion, moving out of the chemical body. It's how, to, of course, to identify where you're holding consciousness and how to use that to stay out of your programming. And then the tools of when we find ourselves stuck in programming, what we can do to get out of it. And not only that, but once we get out of it, we could use the technology to advance our experience or shift it almost immediately if we choose to. So those are all some of the fun things that are in this class. So I was going to talk about my story today. I'm going to tell you what happened. It'll be really fast. So I even was talking to my daughter, Rosa, like, oh my gosh, I just feel so off today. My body is running really fast. I feel like I got plugged into a light socket. I'm having trouble focusing. And I was just like, yeah, I feel really off. And she's like, I kind of feel off too. And so we're so connected. So when she's feeling something, a lot of times I do as well. And so I kind of checked in. I was like, okay, what is this showing? And I had the ability to go inside my body and start to run my consciousness in the frequency that I was holding. And sure enough, it was an upgrade, but it got to be really fun because it started to show me exactly what was happening, what I could do to master it so that I could get to the other side of it and feel more in that stillness or open space. And it gave me all of the answers that I needed to move through it very quickly, pop out on the other side, and then sit back and be like, okay. That was really fun and super cool. And look how I used my tools to get to the other side. And I was like, perfect story. Not that I'm going to go through all of the different things, but it just shows that it works. When we know how to use consciousness as a tool, we become the master of our mind, of our body, and of our reality. Because consciousness is the ability to know where to go when we're in the shift. And if we don't know where to go, we go into our programming because that's the way our mind is programmed to work. So no matter how aware we are of something, if we don't have the tool to actually change within that awareness, we end up right back where we started. Okay, now I'm going to open it up to gallery and to see if anybody has any questions about the course, whether, is this right for me? I see a couple few names that are here that are new. And then, of course, I see some familiar faces. But this is just your opportunity. And then if anybody wants to maybe talk about if you have taken the course, what your experience was, that is always welcomed as well. So I'll let you just kind of raise your hand if you have anything that you want to ask or say. The course does start on Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and it runs for 8 weeks. It's a very intense class. There's a lot of information that you will learn in those 8 weeks. And afterwards, you get to go back and go through it again because there's no way you're going to be able to hold on to everything that you learn. And I'll just mention this as well, is that the course is actually designed to go through multiple times because every time you go back and take it, it will hit you at a higher level of consciousness. So it will allow you to continue to evolve within the tools. And they do. Even to this day, I'm shocked. Every time I go back and teach it, I even learn something new because I'm able to hit it at a different level of consciousness. And I'm sure most of you that have gone through it a couple of times with me notice that as well because I'm teaching it in a slightly different way. Sandy?
Um, I'm really completely in alignment with what you just shared about, hearing the information over and over again and then seeing it from a higher perspective, because that's definitely my experience. And the question that I want to ask is that I heard something this time in listening to the replay that I hadn't heard before, and I'd love to really embrace that. And that is that up into this point, I was feeling like the once that was observing my thought and just felt into felt that I was in the frequency, that was enough. But what I heard today was that once you observe something, you go above what you observed. And I would love you to hear more about that. It was a real beautiful pearl that seemed to come to me.
So I think we'll just break it down so that you can at least have the experience. So when you move into a space of observing, to recognize where you are and then continue to keep going. Because that's one thing, especially early on our conscious journey, is learning to observe, is to recognize when we're in a program and to be able to step out and have a part of ourself that is observing the program, how we're behaving, the thoughts that we're having, maybe even observing why we're choosing it. It's like, oh, I can see that I just need somebody to agree with me, might be one, or I need someone on my side. And we can see all these different behaviors because we're able to observe our behavior or our thoughts. Well, that's only step one, right? We can sit and observe that all day long, and we may even make the choice within that observation of, oh, I don't really want to live my life that way anymore. That's not really serving me anymore. And there may even be part of the observer that I've actually had this happen. Like I can see myself doing it. I see the pattern, but I can't stop myself. I'm doing it anyways. Like how many times have we had that? Or I can see the pattern, but I can't stop looping in this thought, right? Well, that's when we know that we need to move into a higher state of consciousness. So, what we can do is from that observer mind, we move into the space where we're actually able to observe both the behavior or the thought, the part of us that's observing the behavior and the thought, and then we observe both of those. And in that space is really when you learn the tools, you recognize, okay, now I'm in the fourth level of consciousness because I'm allowing this to happen without judgment. I'm allowing it to happen without judgment. And that opens space for new information to come in when we're observing both the observer and what is observed. And it takes practice, right? But in that, it can be a lot of fun because the more that we learn to be there, this is where we start to hold our consciousness all the time. Because what is observed, so regardless of what it is that's being observed, once it's observed, what happens? Well, it creates timelines. It creates interference. It's running through our programming, even if we're in observation of what it is we're trying to change. And that's why it's so important to know what level of consciousness we're in so that we can shift and move up to the top. And then, of course, we continue on from there. But I think I answered your question. Did I answer your question, Sam?
Did perfectly. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for asking. So these are all the fun little things that we'll process through over these 8 weeks. So not only will you have the modules that teach all of this with some past recordings and different things, but then we meet once a week to really harness what has been learned through the activations, through questions, through things that maybe you had an experience and you share it and we break down the experience so that you can see it from the different angles. And I love consciousness. I mean, most of my day is staying in a space of allowing and learning to let the frequency hit my consciousness and show me the perspective from higher levels. And then I do it again. And then I do it again. I don't ever stop because there's always somewhere higher to go. And when we can learn to live our life like that, everything becomes magical and brand new and interesting. I mean, it kind of starts to blow you away of what we're capable of achieving or even reaching when we learn to use our consciousness as a tool and not who we are. It's not an identity, it's just a tool because who we are is an intelligence that's transcribed within us. And you can call that source, you can call that God, you can call it the divine. your higher self, the universe, but that intelligence is running through our DNA. It's creating a technology, a quantum technology that is within us. And that's the essence of who we are. Our consciousness is just an observation of that. So when we learn to use consciousness as an operating tool to be able to tap into that intelligence, everything changes. And that is my passion, is not only mastering it myself, but being able to teach it to others. Does anybody else have a share or a question? No? Okay. Well, I think this is what I would like to do. I thought this would be fun. So, what I want to do is we're going to do this in a space of manifesting. We're in these beautiful energies between the two eclipses. So, what better time to tap into manifesting? So, what we're going to do is we're going to have you just kind of sit in this for just a moment, pick what you want to bring in, what it is that you want to manifest. And then we're going to go through a process where we're going to clear the body, bring it into 0 point with the technology that you're going to learn in the class. I'm going to pick 3 DMT codes to turn on a specific frequency. And then we're going to go in and show the different levels of consciousness that can be held within each code or within the process of manifesting itself. So by the time we're ending the activation, you'll be well aware of where you're holding the intention. And hopefully, when you move forward from here, you'll have at least that to take away. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay, so everybody has an intention. I'm going to go ahead and bring myself back to speaker view. All right, so let's just attune, and I'll turn off my phone. Okay, let's take a moment and just take in a deep breath. And if you'd like to see a white blue light, just breathing in that white blue light, allowing it to trace along the brain, moving down through the spine and out through the mouth. And then breathing in again, just allowing that light, tracing along the brain, moving down through the spine as we attune the spinal fluid. And bringing that light into the heart space, allowing it to move into your bloodstream, starting to feel it as it moves throughout your entire body, attuning your body to that frequency of source or 963. And then just bringing your attention into your heart space and just gently placing your intention. You say gently, so you're just placing the intention and then you're letting it go. You're surrendering it or submitting it to the frequency of 963 or source. And then we're just going to prepare the body to be able to hold these higher frequencies. So the first thing we'll do is bring in this first code of the technology. And this code is releasing a scalar wave that is working on a cellular level to bring the body into 0 point, the mind into 0 point, your reality into 0 point, a neutral space. So you can just feel this code. It can enter right in through your third eye into the pineal gland that's in the center of your physical brain, and just allowing it to spin as it activates every cell of your body, clearing out any density programs, putting that your cell into that 0 point. You can see it like a white canvas. Nothing is there. And then we'll activate the second technology of the scalar. This holds the 7 elements. allowing consciousness to be held in 0 point, allowing consciousness to be held outside of time and space, bringing it into that 0 point, preparing the body to turn on the frequency that is holding your intention through the frequency of source. Just feeling this as it moves into your pineal gland, allowing it to spin, and just knowing that the scalar wave is working on a cellular level. You don't have to do anything, you're just allowing it to happen. It knows exactly what to do. And then we'll activate the third code of the technology as we turn on that frequency of 963. You can feel every cell in your body as it moves into the expression, moving right through your consciousness, right through your intention, allowing your body to hold this very specific frequency. And just knowing that your intention has a frequency. This is allowing the intelligence of your DNA to connect into that frequency and create a grid system, a software system for your body to hold. Just feel that your body repatterning, creating a beautiful system for your consciousness to experience. The first DMT code that we're getting is the 4, the alchemist. So just allowing this code as it activates every cell of your body, as it connects to the experience of your intention. And we're going to allow this code to attune your consciousness. So what would it be? Would the experience be to take where you are now and bring it into the foundation where you are experiencing your intention? What would it be to be a divine alchemist? The ability to shift, to turn coal to gold. And you're not figuring it out. You don't have to do anything. Just feel the frequency as it releases in your body and allow your consciousness to be attuned. Just like you're trying to match the frequency of a piano or a piece of music. When you play music, you feel something. So this is more subtle, but just allow yourself to feel the code releasing in your body. And if you don't feel anything, that's okay. It's happening anyways. Just allow yourself to have the experience as your body releases the frequency of the ability to create change. And then we're going to activate DMT code number 2. This is the connector, the bridge between form and spirit, the ability to communicate your vision, a divine communicator. Your words code your reality. So in this moment, you can allow this code to release on a DNA level, connecting to the alchemist, allowing your intention to code, and allowing your consciousness to move into the frequency of the words that need to be spoken. Knowing that the words will shape your reality. And you may hear something that needs to be spoken. Just stay open to receiving. You're allowing the experience, moving through that fourth level of consciousness. And then we'll activate the 9. As we activate the Matrix Master, the ability to hold consciousness and mastery over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your reality. You can be within the Matrix, but not of the Matrix, allowing you to stay in the frequency of mastery as you walk the journey to experience your intention. Just feeling that as it activates within your body. And now what I want you to do is just hold yourself in a space of allowing. When we're coding the DNA, it creates a very specific frequency in your body. And that frequency begins to shape the way you think, your perspective, the way you feel, the way you see reality. Without imagining, you're just allowing your consciousness to be still. You may have visions come in, you may hear something, you may feel something. You may just have little downloads of something that you just know. But you're staying open and curious. It's almost as though somebody's talking and you're having trouble hearing them, so you have to go completely still inside and completely focused to being able to receive the information. That's where you want to hold your consciousness as you receive now, as you move forward, the guidance and how to bring your intention into reality. And just noticing if you want to imagine something, if you're trying to hear something, those are the spaces where you want to stay away from. So as soon as you recognize that you're trying to make something happen, you're trying to hear something, just let it go. And then just moving back into staying open and curious. The more you're open and curious, the more you start to have thoughts that are not your own. You'll get those little hits, like, how did I know that? You may hear something. So this is how we begin to communicate with the intelligence. As we ask these questions, what I call prompting, we ask to have the experience of what it is to bring an intention into reality, and then you begin to co-create with that intelligence within you. And how do we do that? With our consciousness. The ability to know where we're holding it and how to use it. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And we'll see if there's any last minute questions or if anybody wants to share their experience. This is your time to do so. So what to do as you move forward is be aware. Be aware of what you feel. Don't go searching for the answers. Stay open and curious and allow the answers to come to you. Allow the way, the guidance to come in. And it always comes in at the most random times. And because we had that too, I did hear that for some of you, it's going to be through communication. So it may be you have a conversation with somebody and you pick up some information that was needed. It may be you start to do a mantra or some sort of I am statement to shift identity, use those avatars, all of those fun things that we learn in mastering consciousness. But even if you do not participate, you can participate with the frequencies that were just released today. All right, everyone. Well, if there's no other questions, uh, we'll just let you go here. And if you are interested and want to learn more, you can go to the website and or reach out to us. We're always here to help as well on the contact page. Okay. Love you all so much.